All right, so we're going to jump right back in, and we're going to be looking at wave and candlestick retracement. And I want you to think about things again in terms of just regular motion. If we take a look at the market as a storyboard, it's going to be easier for us to understand what it is that's happening. And with waves, I want you to think about waves in terms of currents and how you might be at the beach. When you look at market waves, they're bringing in certain kinds of energy if I'm in an uptrend, certain kinds of energy if I'm in a downtrend. And so it's just like the tide going in and out. So when you are entrenched in a trend and you're looking for that trend to remain established, you want to make sure that your pullbacks are shallow in relation to the wave. The second that begins to shift, remember, our goal is always observation. We're always in a staring state of, hey, is this staying the same or is it changing? Do I have symmetry or is something shifting with momentum? And so when we realize that something is either predominantly trending up or trending down, and we start to see the shift in retracement, it tells us what's going on. It gives us a good view of what's happening. And so that ebb and flow is going to have a strength on one side or the other, and that's how we know we're really in a trending or downtrending space, because that ebb and flow is going to manage that for us. When we see strength of motion in one direction, don't be afraid to trade in the direction of strength, even if you miss that first space where you look back and go, you know what, that was my real entry. That's really where I should have gotten in. When that happens, you just have to say, well, wait a second, if it's a really good entry, it's going to have a continuation event. How can I measure that continuation event? That's going to come from the ebb of motion and then the movement of that motion back. And if you're looking at a time frame and you can't find an ebb and flow because you want to trade that rhythm and cycle, shift to a smaller time frame. Now, that means, you know, if you're already looking at a 1, you really can't shift any lower than that unless you move to tick, and then that's just noise to me. So I would say observe these wave events on 5 and 15-minute patterns if you're an intraday trader, and then you can always have another space. Now, what I did notice as I was looking around is a lot of you don't have split screens with different time frames sitting with your charts. You'll just move from one time frame to the other when you're making an analysis event. And so I'd like to suggest perhaps that you do a split screen where you've got 2 time frames and you're looking at them simultaneously. You're managing the trade off one time frame, but you're looking at it structurally in terms of a larger event. And just so long as you don't confuse yourself doing that, which tends to happen if you're trying it for the first time, you're really going to end up finding great places to make support and resistance decisions that are in terms of bigger pictures. Remember, the bigger the picture, the bigger the money operating at that space because of the cost of doing business. So you've got to think about that.